So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Alex Vizari. I'm Senior Director of Product Management within Fortinet. And today we're going to cover FortiAOps. So I know we have been covering that last year, and we had a deep session on that. Today we did enhance that, and this is what we are going to cover. So some of the items are roadmap, but most of them will be available soon. So Chris was mentioning today that our main product being the FortiGate, everything is around the FortiGate by itself. We do have, and what we do see is a lot of customers have multiple branches. This is what we call the SD branch. And every data that is within this branch managed by the FortiGate, being the switch, the APs, the 4G, 5G connectivity being the extender, are all going into the data center where they would have the FortiManager, like Chris was saying. We do also have analysis and reporting engine being the FortiAnalyzer. And AIOps is inside this data center. So we designed it like that in order to ensure that data within the data center, such as logs and other telemetry, are between the data center to save the one uplink of all those sites. So we had FortiAOps, and we also had FortiWLM that we wanted to cover for multiple years, but we didn't have the chance to cover. FortiWLM is a deep analysis product monitoring for wireless. So we have a lot of troubleshooting tools. We have heat maps, location service, and everything around what someone would like to get for wireless. But what we did see is it's good to have two different products, but well, customers want to have everything in a single pane of glass management. They want to go back and forth between the monitoring. They want to go and see different things. They want also to have switch insights. So knowing that we had two different products, we came up with a solution of merging both monitoring, troubleshooting, and AI insights inside a single platform. It took us a long time to find the name, but no, I'm kidding. But and we finally did bundle that under FortiAOps to provide customers all they need on a day-to-day basis. So what is FortiAOps 2.0? So we did present last year, said 1.0, so feel free to go to see the recording of that. FortiAOps is, as said, the merge of monitoring, troubleshooting, and AI insights inside a single platform. It's fully relying on the Fortinet UX framework with the ability to go top to bottom within few clicks. So you go from the FortiGate level, you go to the switch, you go to the AP. From the AP, you can see the stations and so on, in order to really drive the customer or the IT guy towards the problematic stations, for example. As of now, it's a VM, but we are working also to get hardwares, and I will cover that. We also have other plans in future, so just behave and we'll cover that also. In terms of licensing, it's a subscription service. So for wireless and switching, we do count just the APs and the switches, simple as that. And for SD1, we just count the FortiGates because it's like covering the full one side.
So the licensing,
sorry,
correct me if I'm wrong. Is it, so if I buy an AP, whatever the subscription is, it comes with it, or is that separate SKU or?
So it will be a standalone appliance, so you just need to get the amount of APs and switches, and it's a subscription on this appliance, yes.
Okay.
So in AP plus...
So as long as there's AP, I have the AP or switch subscription, I have the AIOps?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because APs and switches, as Chris was saying, can be managed by LAN cloud, by the FortiGate, and by other, like that Sumant will cover today. So each of them is having different ways. So on the FortiGate, we don't license the APs and the switches. We just like per model, we have X amount of maximum amount of devices. On LAN cloud, it's on a per device model. So we have subscription for them. In here, this product is aimed to monitor the FortiGates and everything that is connected to the FortiGates.
Okay.
So this is a separate appliance?
It's a separate appliance, yes.
And can it run in a VM, or is it?
It's a VM.
It is a VM.
It's a VM as of today, and we are working on 3 different specs. Well, it will be like another slide down the road, but yeah, we are working on different ways, and I'm going to cover that in a few minutes. So, as said, being monitoring, troubleshooting, and AI insights, we do goal to drive the customer into 3 different areas. Is faster root cause analysis, because we know with wireless switching and potentially SD-WAN, it's really tough for people to know what is the issue, to go deep to the issue, but also we know that to be expert on wireless switching and SD-WAN, to know all the different gears of this vendor, being Fortinet or anyone, it's always hard for an IT person. So providing some insights is the key. Providing application and station visibility is also really important. And on top of that is AI is there, is helping you, is driving you, but we also provide tools to the IT admin to do on the day-to-day different things centrally. So imagine you have 200 sites, which each of them is having a FortiGate. If you have sometimes to get some information from each of them or from 2 of them, you have to go back and forth between two platforms. So this is here to provide you a full view with a lot of tools, and we are going to cover that inside the demo of that. So in terms of features, as said, it's a VM fully relying on Fortinet UX framework, REST API compliance. We did scale that and provide some specs for VMs for 3 different ones, so low, medium, and high. So depending on the kind of network you have, you can have really like small amount of devices, or you can go to thousands of them and at scale. So visibility of wireless switching, and also with the SD-WAN part of that. The AI bit is fully integrated with it. So what you have seen is there with few additions, and also, as said, like providing troubleshooting tools and a full LAN and WAN view from a single platform. So yeah, I did cover that, but it's a subscription-based licensing, so you can stack at any time. So you can start with few FortiGates, and as your company is growing, you can add and stack licenses to that and onboard those new devices to the platform. So we have different pack and also a bundle of that. So if we know that some customers want just monitoring, some others would want AI insights, some others would want a bundle of both, and some others would want the full lot with also SD-WAN. So with our licensing model, we are quite flexible and allow any kind of scenario to be sure that customers get only what they really want to see. So different pack, 25, 500, 2,000, 10,000. And as said, you can stack 2,000 with 500 or different things to really meet what is in the network. So on top of that, we did add what we call the wireless service assurance. That is here transforming an AP radio into a client and connecting to the same network and doing some baselines, as well as probing either one shot or in continuous the network and providing you some deep insights on how your network is currently behaving. And I'm going to demo that today. On top of that, yeah, we support different, like we have the latest Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E APs. We also support for those tiny sites, and we didn't cover that, but we also have a FortiGate with wireless integrated called FortiWi-Fi, and we also support that, and we are capable to get the local radio displayed into this platform. So even if customers do not want to get the full suite of switch APs on the site, we are capable to provide a small box that would do everything, but still being capable to be monitored from this single platform. So that was your question. It's a VM today. We do support ES6, Hyper-V, and KVM. We are working on 3 different platforms for hardware, as I said, and we're also working on different ways. So the first thing is we are working closely to get it integrated with FortiLAN Cloud and FortiGate Cloud. has a backend service, so to provide insights for those customers that are small, but still want to get some insights without having to get like a full instance on their own. So that is something that we are currently working on. And also what we are aiming to get is also a platform as a service, so a VM hosted by us in the cloud. So we already have different sorts of our appliances in the cloud for different customers. And AIOps is one of them that will soon be added to the portfolio. So this is a small introduction of what we have, and I'm going to shift to the demo. So for people knowing the FortiGate, it's similar to what a FortiGate is having different dashboards with full read-ons. You can add different widgets, customize your dashboard as you want, and then see different things. So you see you have like wireless clients, FortiGates, the amount of FortiGates that are here. They could be online, offline. The CPUs of your different FortiGates, the memory usage, the events that are seen in the network, access points, whether they are online, offline, and if they are like unauthorized and so on. So that's how it is done. Different dashboards, one being also the AI insights, what you've seen last year, and I'm going to come back to that. So if we come back to what I said, we have monitoring, troubleshooting, and AI insights. From the monitoring part, you have different places. So coming to the fact that everything is from the FortiGate, you can click and get your FortiGate list. You can then drill down to you have the list, so you know which one is online, the kind of models, versions, license note, and if they're on, like, all you need to know, and of course, like, you can add different like columns if you need. But what if I need to get more insights from this FortiGate? You can. So here are some insights. So you have a summary of what it is, when it was connected, if it is online, if it is fully discovered, licensed, and so on. You would have different health metrics that are quickly showing you what is currently happening. But you also have, at the bottom, different ways to see. So you have the historical data for memory, CPU, and sessions that can be also expanded, and you can get different values from like the time when you want to see. You have different insights from wireless, from client's point of view, so throughput, signal, retries, loss, and so on. So that's what we have added to give insights to customers whenever they want. But the FortiGate, as said, is managing different things. It's managing APs, switches, and it's having also the connected clients. So if we check that, the APs are here, they are listed, so all of them are connected to the FortiGate. You can click on any of them. So, for example, one that's having stations, for example, here. And then you will get insights of the AP itself. So from the performance metrics, and each independent radio will be listed here and show you channel utilization, clients, and if there is any interfering SSID. Again, you can expand. You have each performance of each radio at any time. So, for example, this is a Wi-Fi 6E AP. So you have radio 1, 2.4, radio 2, 5, and radio 3, 6 GHz. I don't have any 6 GHz at home right now, like it's with me. But just to show you that you have the clients, you have the bandwidth, you have the channel utilization, and you have the history of that over time. And of course, if you want to see more in depth, you can also like look and get some insights at any time. So that's on a per radio basis. Sorry, it's not I want that.
What do you get on the spectrum analysis tab?
Yeah, we're coming to that.
You're coming to that.
Yeah, sorry. So then you have the connected clients on that, as you can see. So different clients, and we are going to come back to that. You have the interfering SSIDs. that is computing and gathering your data, so what this AP is seeing at any time. So as of now, the APs we have are triple radio, where you can have 2.4, 5, and 6, or you can have 2.4, 5, and dedicated scan, or 5, 5, and 2.4. So we have a flexible radio management, and depending on what you have, either the interfering and spectrum will be done in foreground scanning or background scanning, depending if the radio is dedicated. Of course, at any time, you can dedicate a radio to do dedicated scan if you want, but most of the time, people do have them as servicing radios. So you have logs of the AP, so filtering for this specific AP. I'm going back to Spectrum in a bit, and we have also like VLAN probe. So VLAN probe is just here to allow you to transform the AP into a client on the wire side and ensure that the VLAN is properly propagated, but as well that the DHCP server is properly listening and answering to your wireless stations.
Is that only a manual probe, or will it run automatically?
As of now, it's manual probe, but yes, there are some projects to get that as automated, to link that with the AI engine. So, and that's one of the reasons to get the AI piece bundled with the monitoring and troubleshooting, is it's allowing us to reuse all the tools we have, such as VLAN probe, Spectrum, cable test on the switch, and ensuring that proactively we are going to probe the network and warn should an error occur.
Okay.
So you remember we came from the FortiGate that is just behind here. We are at the AP level and we get the stations here. And from here, you can get also a view of the stations with, or stations and station if we drill down, with again some insights on what the station is, what kind of health metrics it is having, the historical performance over time, again, nothing new. And also you can have a deep insights on the kind of applications the station is having, the destination that the station was sending traffic to, the policies that were matched by the firewall on the FortiGate, and all the logs of the specific station, of course, with some deep insights. So you remember we came from a dashboard point of view. We went to the FortiGate, FortiGate to the AP to the station. So you had a question on what kind of spectrum do you have? So spectrum can be done on 2.4, 5, or if the AP is running 6 GHz, you can do that. And you can start it and get some insights of the different channels it is being using. Well, seeing, sorry. So you have the interference spectrum, duty cycle, and duty cycle spectrum, as well as some interference pattern detection based on some different elements to give you the kind of interference it is if we do detect one.
Is that when you start that, does it stop serving clients when it's doing that? Or?
No. So even if we do that in background scanning, sorry, it's not disconnecting clients. And if, like in this AP, you do on a dedicated scan radio, this radio is here for that. It's here to do location service, to do spectrum, and any kind of actions to probe the network. So if we go back to the FortiGate, you remember we are here. We have also the clients that we did see, so I'm not going to go back to that. But we also have the connected switches. And here again, you get some details about the kind of switch, version of switch, was it connected, yes, no. You have some health metric, quick instant view. You also have the faceplate showing you which port is connected, which VLAN is this port bound to, is it having some devices using power or not, and so on. And here you would get the uplink ports and so on. You also have what port is doing and what it is having. And we have all sorts of different elements you can get. So it could be what kind of features this port is having, which LLDP profile, either the QoS policy, like spanning tree, and so on. So you can customize the view of what you have depending on what you want to get. Again, we can get cable test from the switch itself. So we would just send some signal to the remote station and get it back. And based on that, we can determine if the port is, if the cable is good or not with some precision. You can get the logs of the switch. So again, whatever we do see from a FortiGate point of view is any port flapping, is the switch disconnecting, reconnecting, and so on. And then you have the historical data, so from ports themselves. So you can see, let me take that. You can see TX, RX data, packets, drops, and any kind of data that you would want to get from your switch on an historical way. So you can get insights over time.
Is any of this actually from your AI engine?
No, we're just monitoring. I'm going to cover AI just after.
Okay, gotcha.
So what we've seen so far is basically FortiManager, right?
It's not FortiManager. So FortiManager is our provisioning tool. It's also capable to do basic monitoring, but not in depth as what I'm covering here. And I'm going to cover also other wireless tools that we have and that are not there. And then you also have the historical trends and data of the CPU, memory, fans, temperatures, and the PoE usage of the switch by itself, like the PoE budget, and see the pattern over time and ensure that you still have enough to give to your APs or phones or whatever. And then you have the clients connected to the switch. So yeah, we have logs on the FortiGate. I'm not going to cover that. I'm skipping that. But also what we did had is the FortiGate could be 10,000 miles away from you. What if you have to troubleshoot things? You can troubleshoot things with a packet capture. So you can, for example, take the interface where CapWap is running. You can start a capture. And within click, you can get quick insights. You can get the packets. You can view different things and scroll. But also, you can save the pickup and open it in Wireshark, for example. And then you can have different sorts of tools. You can have the hard table remotely from the FortiGate. You can have the routing table being a firewall and having routing and dynamic routing. It's sometimes useful. But also you can check the DHCP scopes running on each independent interface, performing DNS lookup or reverse DNS lookup. Do you want to go to the CLI of the FortiGate? Yes, you can. In a few clicks.
Wait, so you said DHCP scope running on each interface of
the FortiGate. Sorry.
Of the FortiGate, okay.
Yes, that's each independent FortiGate. Being a firewall, everything is related to an interface afterwards.
Okay. Well, what if the DHCP is not on the firewall, if it's running on, I don't know, something else or a server?
That will not be able to detect.
Will it kind of monitor or something what's going on with it? Or
as of now, no. As of now, it's only if it is running on the FortiGate.
Okay.
So CLI, we have what I call the last resort command. So I've spent 13 years in support, and sometimes customers are lost and they just send whatever they can. So that's the TAC report. So you click and you would get a debug report out of the FortiGate with thousands of lines and provide that to TAC if you want. And we have also a way to monitor the processes running on the FortiGate, being the central point of your network, being the most critical element of your network. We have a way to check what is going on and on a per process basis, and you can also take actions should you have to. So that's the drill down capability we have, but we also have different things. So we have a full list of APs for all the FortiGates if you want. We have a full list of stations or of wireless stations if you want. What we do have also is a channel summary page providing you all the configured SSIDs across your network and also the different health metrics such as the throughput, the channel utilization on the per channel and so on, and you can filter based on what you want to see. Didn't mention that, but also you can see the AP list either from an AP point of view, but also from a radio point of view. So showing you each independent radio and its current usage in terms of client channels and type and so on. So you have a clear view, and you can see, for example, here, it's in dedicated monitor. That's the third radio I was saying. So it would be here just to do all those kind of monitoring that we have been talking about. So we can get a full view of wireless applications over, applications over wireless. So you can see like the different ones. You can click and get some insights on like what it is, what kind of stations you have, the utilization of them, and so on. And you can also get some trends over time if you really want to see some insights of what has been happening over the past couple of hours in the network. So what we do have also is, being the central point of the network, having a full view of things, we also have what I call a location service light. So Chris was talking about FortiPresence being our location analytics service. We do also have that running on this appliance and showing you in live, in a network, what kind of stations are being detected, and also what kind of rogue APs are being detected nearby your access points on your network. So from a single point, you can see exactly what is going on at a certain time. So that's the allocation part, where each independent AP would send data to the FortiAOps instance. But we also have, for people willing to see the heat maps, we also have that. And the heat map service will be here to show you different elements, such as the signal strength, the number of stations connected to your network, channel utilization on the per AP, loss, throughput, and so on. So in a quick view, you can see what is also going on from like a network point of view and get some insights. Talking about maps, so we have like a full management way of doing, so we can like import maps and things like that. But we also have a light version of an RF planner where you can draw walls, you can place APs, and based on what you have been placing, you can see, by example, the data rates, the signal strengths of your AP based on some predictive analysis. The last point I wanted to cover from, well, let's move on, because we did see the monitoring part. We did see a bit of troubleshooting. So from troubleshooting, we see the wireless bit, we see the switching bit. We also have what I said, service assurance. So we would configure a radio to run in a client mode, whether to do connectivity test or throughput test. And this radio would connect to your network and then perform a baseline. If the baseline is completed, then you can do a schedule of that and tell it to either like run once or to run on a regular basis. Based on that, you would see some trends in your network. So I've been playing around before the event, and I was simulating some failures in the network and some good results. So that is from the SAM, Service Assurance Manager, on the product. But you can also have a full dashboard of that to give you instant view of things. And you see that's when we had the issue. And if you click, you can get insights on what happened, when, and so on. And see exactly what is going on into your network. So from throughput, connectivity, the top 5 AP failure, the health of your radios, and the health of the channels and so on. So
Do you define what good and bad
as
is?
of now, yes, you define what is good and bad. Later on, we would drive that from the AI engine itself. Sorry.
So if I understood correctly, the access point will transform itself into a probe and run the test?
One of the radio, yes.
Okay, one of the radio. So the other radio will continue serving the client.
Yes.
All right.
And as we have, for example, 3 radios, if, for example, you are in the mode of 5.5 and 2.4, you can say one of the 5 is like dedicated to do this kind of task, for example.
What can I set as baseline metric? What can I put in there to get to as a client?
So either you do that, you configure it on what you want to get, or you do that based on the measurement that you would get when you will perform the test.
I feel like you missed a chance to call that FortiSAM. I'm just saying.
Good point. I'll work on that for next year. So that's almost that for the monitoring and troubleshooting, if I'm not missing anything. We have different things, but we have also centralized logging. We have also wireless reporting, but we could spend hours on that. I just wanted to come back to the AI bit. So either we have the AI dashboard that will give you some insights and the trends, but what we also have is a full dedicated section, and we did provide that from 2 different angles, whether we do provide what are the impacted SLAs at a certain time, or provide you impacted devices. So from wherever you want to see, either you want to know what are the impacted stations in your network, or you want to see how your network is behaving from an SLA point of view. So knowing that we have wireless switching and SD-WAN, so you can see them here with different views, so nothing fancy. And if I take, for example, coverage, I will have the SLA, I will have the classifiers, I will have the sub-classifiers, so more you go and more you drill down to the kind of issue you want. Clicking here will give you which stations are being impacted, where they are connected, what is the classifier, what are the sub-classifiers. And based on that, you can get some diagnostics. So what AP is serving the station, what is the root cause, and what we did find or what we do recommend you to overcome in your network in order to improve this issue.
Sorry, how are you defining? So I saw coverage hole there.
Yes.
How is that detected? Is that based on the maps and the walls that you've drawn in?
It's based on each signal that each AP is receiving. We do probe the network, and based on that, we do have some kind of map that we do see, if there is a hole or not.
So if you've got if a customer has areas that they're not covering
Yes.
on purpose,
Yes.
so things like stairwells, if they didn't want to do that, things
Yes.
like mechanical spaces, would you still define those as a coverage
As
hole?
of now, yes, we are working to acknowledge some of the issues we do detect, because we know that some customers would have different kind of networks, and we are working on a way to remove some of the elements from the detection engine. Yes.
So I was just reading your remedy section there.
Yes.
You say they should review some client settings, but do you ever suggest what they should be changed to?
So
yeah.
So in here, for example, that's kind of configuration we have on the FortiGate for wireless. So, for example, we have sticky client removal, we have receiver sensitivity and different things based on what we have seen as what is being configured at the instant T. we do suggest to change the settings to improve the coverage.
Okay, so
It's not like related to the client, it's more the configuration of your wireless network.
okay, so that is recommended settings, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
You said sticky client removal. What is it doing something special, or I mean, are we talking 802.11b? I mean V, sorry.
So imagine you have sticky client removal, and you so it will disconnect the station if it is above a certain threshold.
Okay.
And if you are above that, of course, like you will be in a hole because you will not be able to connect anymore.
And is that threshold configurable, like something that?
Yes, so it's on the per radio. So every probe response, sticky client, receiver sensitivity, all those settings are on a per radio basis. So you can configure the threshold on each independent radio.
Does that do that if it's really just a sticky client and stuck to an AP when it should be on one that's closer to it? Or does it just base it on the fact that the client's at a low RSSI?
It's based on the client that is on a low RSSI.
So you could be just kicking it off the network.
Yes, we don't recommend that. But some clients want it. And that's why we do recommend initially to have 802.11 KVR with MBO to ensure that there is a proper roaming if the station is supporting that. But there are some legacy devices and some customers also do love some of the features. Don't know why, but so we have them. So we do recommend initially to have KVR enabled, but if you don't, or if the station is not supporting, well, there are other ways, yes. So yeah, so as said, you can see the issues from an impacted SLA point of view or impacted devices. Same thing, you will be able to get the view either from a FortiGate point of view on wireless, from an access point of view, or from a client point of view. And again, you can drill down, so same as before, and get some insights and so on. So that's what we have as AI insights. Also, what we have been doing is we have been getting the data we get from time to connect, roaming, SD-WAN, and computing that. And either you would be able to do some static baselines, or we are capable to do also dynamic baselines and derive what we have seen over the past couple of hours, days, and so on in the network, and put that on the per device, per FortiGate, per group, per FortiGate, per AP, but also sometimes we can do that on a per SSID point of view. So based on that, you are capable to say, hey, this SSID is having this roaming time, and so on, in order to start to look into how it is evolving over time. And I think I did cover most of what I wanted to cover today.
So where do you see someone purchasing this versus just using the existing FortiManager products?
So FortiManager would provide you a full suite of configuration, provisioning, scripting. It would provide you basic monitoring, no historical data, only real time, no AI insights, like all the heat maps, location service, and different things, and service assurance are not there because it's like, imagine FortiManager is dealing with security appliances, trying to push different sorts of things because the FortiGate can do a lot of things. We cannot get every like that inside FortiManager. From an AI insights, we need like some resources to perform that, and meaning that you would need to get like a device with maybe like whatever 300 to 500 gig of RAM and like big CPUs, which will not fly at the end, if you see what I mean.
So you're saying they're complementary?
It's complementary, yes. So we are also working to get them both communicating via the fabric in order to leverage some of the UX we have here from FortiManager. So for people willing to get just one appliance to connect, they would be able to get that from FortiManager, but relying on a dedicated hardware or VM that is working in the backend.
Okay.
I had a question from social media. Can it pull maps from FortiGate?
As of now, it's standalone, but we're working on different ways to even integrate with other third-party vendors, and also to push that to FortiGate, yes.
Okay.
And Alex, I was going to have you talk about, because I think you hinted at it earlier, we've talked about it in past years, but I just wanted to make sure we captured it here.
all of this data, because I know sometimes feeding an AI engine does mean a lot of data moving around. Can we talk a little bit about what data streams we're leveraging as part of this?
Yeah, so being part of the fabric and being inside the data center, we do need two things: logs from the FortiGate, which can be sent directly or via FortiAnalyzer. So remember, FortiAnalyzer being the data center, AIOps being just side by side. This traffic is like hidden from like the uplinks of the FortiGate. What we need on top of that is some REST API calls just to gather the different telemetry of those FortiGates and the different ports and things like that. So to do the monitoring display, but also the correlation of what we have in the logs and what we do see from the status of each independent device and process and so on.
And then do you manually add those devices in here as well, that the ones that you're monitoring, you're making those REST API calls to?
Yeah, the ones that are being monitored here, we just like we use REST APIs, yes.
Oh,